Air travel gets easier and more efficient all the time. Planes land every minute or two at most big airports. All is bustling activity. Passengers arrive, others depart. Until there is fog, that is. When the fog comes, all you can do is sit and wait, and talk to your fellow passengers.
Attention, please. Owing to fog over Northern Europe, there will be delays on all flights to Amsterdam, Brussels, London, and Manchester. Further details will be announced shortly.
Do you mind if I sit down here?
Not at all. Do sit down. There's plenty of room. And anyway, you were sitting there a few moments ago.
Are you flying to London?
No.
Or to Manchester?
No. I am not flying either to London or to Manchester.
Neither to London nor to Manchester?
No. I'm flying to Birmingham.
Oh, I see. There haven't been any announcements about flights to Birmingham.
Because there haven't been any delays.
I wonder why.
Because there isn't any fog over Birmingham. Or there isn't much fog there. There's usually very little fog over Birmingham at this time of the year. But there's a great deal of fog over both London and Manchester. Few people know this, but I can assure you it's true.
Is it the same every year?
It's been the same every year for the past 5 years.
Attention, please. Here is an announcement for all passengers on flight ZZ223 to Frankfurt. This flight has been postponed until further notice.
Young man, would you like some advice?
Yes.
Don't be so nervous. Every time there's an announcement, you get up. You don't even know if the announcement's got anything to do with you.
Attention, please.
There you go again. There's no sense in jumping up and down like that. You make everybody nervous. Oh, be careful.
I'm so sorry.
This bag contains something very valuable.
I've got a present for my girlfriend in my bag. All her friends buy presents for her when they go abroad. She gets a lot of presents.
I have very little time to buy presents when I'm abroad. I'm too busy. I go abroad to work.
It's the first time I've been abroad. You travel a great deal, I suppose. You'll be able to give me a lot of advice.
But I'm leaving for Birmingham in a few moments.
So am I. We're both flying to Birmingham then. So we'll be able to talk to each other on the flight.
Here is an announcement for passengers on flight GG334 to Birmingham.
Listen.
Owing to fog, there will be a delay of several hours on this flight.
We apologize for the late arrival of flights from the continent. Will passengers make their way as quickly as possible to the arrival lounge?
You were right. There was only a little fog, and there wasn't much delay after all.
Not much delay?
Well, only a few hours delay.
I'm going to be late for an appointment.
What's this place?
The Customs Hall. You want me to explain all about the customs, I suppose?
Well, I would like some help, if you've got any time to spare.
You know very well I haven't got any time to spare. Oh, all right then. I'll explain. You follow either the green arrow or the red arrow. If you have nothing to declare, you follow the green arrow. There. You go that way. If you have something to declare, you follow the red arrow and you declare it.
Don't the customs officers stop you?
They have the right to check any piece of baggage, so they can hold a spot check at any time.
Excuse me. I'm a customs officer. Are you two gentlemen together?
No, we are not.
But I'd like to see both of you all the same. It will save a great deal of time and trouble if I see you together.
Is this a spot check?
Yes, sir? Yes, it is. Is that all your baggage, sir?
Yes, I've got all my cases here, and I'm in a hurry.
This won't take much time. Have you anything to declare?
Yes, I have. I've got something very valuable in this bag. It's worth a very great deal of money.
Then there'll be a lot of duty to pay on it, eh?
Oh, no. I've got a special license. There will be no duty at all.
Oh, I see. Dr. Charles Robertson. Oh, I'll only keep you a few minutes, Dr. Robertson. Deal with this, will you? Now, sir, have you got anything to declare?
No, I haven't got anything to declare. But I have got a present for my girlfriend.
Oh, no, thank you. Do hurry up. I'm late for an appointment.
We're still looking for the right papers, sir. It must be either this one or this one. No, it isn't. Well, if it's neither of these, go through all the license forms over there. There aren't many of them. There are only a few left. I'm sorry to keep you waiting.
Have you finished with my bag?
Oh, yes, of course. Thank you. You may go.
But look at all this wrapping. You've undone it all.
I'm sorry about that, sir. But I must deal with Dr. Robertson's documents. See, each document has to be carefully checked. As you can see, there are only two of us on duty. We both have plenty of work to do.
Attention, please. The bus for the town centre will leave in 2 minutes.
Goodbye, Dr. Robertson.
Goodbye. Here we are, sir.
Ah, at last.
Thank you, sir. And I'm sorry to have taken up so much of your time. Here's your bag. Far too valuable to leave behind, eh?
They're still patiently waiting for Dr. Robertson.
Ah, sorry I'm late. Where's everyone else? Where are all the others?
We all waited for 2 hours, but there was so much fog.
There wasn't much. In fact, there was very little fog.
But we heard your flight had been delayed, so we all arranged to meet again tomorrow.
Perhaps that's a good thing. I'll have time to write up a few notes on what I brought with me.
So here it is at last.
It took me 8 months to find it. Now we can both examine it and make some tests. Oh, but first of all, have a look at these reports.
Oh, darling.
Jean, it's great to see you again.
Oh. Oh, you've been away all that time, and you haven't sent me any news. No letters, no postcards.
I've only been away for a week.
You said you'd telephone every day.
I did. I telephoned every day. And each time, either the telephone was engaged, or there was no answer.
Oh, there's been so little to do. I've been bored stiff. I've eaten all the chocolates you gave me before you went away.
Well, this should cheer you up a bit. I've brought you something special.
Oh? Where is it?
In this bag.
Marvelous. Marvelous. Charles, your discovery has given the company a chance to beat all its rivals. Open this for him.
And I'm certain that all our tests will prove positive.
I'm sure you're right.
I know I am.
Have you taken all the wrapping off?
I can't see much wrapping.
Oh, there was a great deal of wrapping.
What's this? Don't tell me. It's a piece of modern Pyrenean sculpture. Just what I wanted.
thought you'd like it.
But these aren't mine.
Stop fussing, Charles.
Who put them in there?
Ah, here we are.
8 months to find a cuckoo clock.
Where's that rock sample?
The airport. That stupid young fool! Oh, shut up!
Living in a block of flats can sometimes create problems. It's not the flats that create the problems, it's the people who live in them.
I'm looking forward to the party.
So am I, Mandy. But we must be careful not to make too much noise this time.
Oh, you mean because of the people downstairs?
Yes, Mr. and Mrs. Moss. They complain every time we have a party. They always complain.
Well, they're usually at home in the evening. Anyway, you must admit, we sometimes make a lot of noise.
I remember the last time we had a party, Mr. Moss said he'd call the police. Why do they never go out in the evening?
Because they're a lot older than we are. Anyway, they're not always bad-tempered, you know.
Well, I've never seen old Mr. Moss smile, have you?
No. He usually looks rather miserable. Mrs. Moss always says hello cheerfully. In fact, I was talking to her this morning.
You didn't mention the party, did you?
Yes, I did mention it casually. She seemed quite interested. Whatever you may think, I'm sure she enjoys life.
I can't eat any more. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I should make this stew more often. Haven't you finished your supper yet, Freddie?
No, I haven't finished. And since I'm only having a couple of biscuits, I refuse to eat them fast. I don't understand how you can go on eating and never get any fatter. Look at me. I eat nothing, and I stay like this all the time. I can never lose any weight, and I'm always hungry.
Well, the next time we go out, you can eat as much as you like.
Go out? Why should we go out? I just want to relax peacefully in the evening.
I'm not sure that you're going to have much peace this evening.
Why not?
The grooms are having another party.
The young couple upstairs? But they have parties every week. They'll be dancing around like elephants all night.
Well, oh, they're enjoying themselves. How often do you enjoy yourself?
Maybe I don't enjoy myself very often, but at least I don't disturb my neighbors. Anyway, how do you know they're having a party?
I met young Mrs. Groom coming home with all the food.
Oh, food.
Is everything ready?
Just about, darling.
You've done the food well, Mandy. It's only 10 to 9. Nobody will be here till 9 o'clock. Not even the Staples.
The Staples? You haven't invited Dick and Sally Staples, have you?
Of course. Well, don't we usually invite them? After all, they generally ask us to their parties.
They very rarely have parties. And they always seem to have them when we're away on holiday.
They almost always do come to our parties, don't they?
Yes. And they're always here early. I've never known them to be late.
Well, they won't be early this time. I politely but firmly told Dick to come after 9 o'clock. I wonder who that is.
The Staples, of course. Either you didn't talk to Dick firmly enough, or he didn't listen carefully to what you told him.
Hello, Peter.
Hello, Sally.
Hello.
Hello, Dick.
Hello. Oh, are we early? Oh, dear. Dick drove here very fast. I can never persuade him to drive slowly. He never listens to me, I'm afraid.
Hello there, Mandy. Watch out, Peter. Handle that thing carefully. I'm only joking. I know you'll treat it gently. Look, Mandy, I brought along the very latest portable cassette player. And a lot of good music, too.
I'll fix this up immediately.
Well done, Peter. You've never heard anything like this before, I promise you.
Lemon juice. Finish your coffee, dear. Then we can start our game of cards. I've heard that laugh before. I've often heard it.
Are you sure? I've hardly ever heard it.
Nonsense. You've heard it very often indeed. In fact, whenever they have a party upstairs, that laugh can be heard regularly. Every 2 minutes. Quiet!
There's no need to shout so fiercely. Listen. They're playing the music much more softly now. And remember that you often used to make a noise when you were young.
That was a long time ago. A very long time ago. I behave differently now.
I shall never forget the way you used to enjoy all the singing, dancing, and the good food.
What's wrong, Peter? You look worried.
I am worried. We've had noisy parties before, but we've never made as much noise as this. What are Mr. and Mrs. Moss going to say?
I think we should invite them up here. They'll come if we ask them nicely. If we tactfully and politely invite them, they can't possibly object.
Will you invite them tactfully and politely, or do you expect me to do it?
Leave it to me.
You can sit there calmly if you like. I'm slowly going mad with that noise. I can't think clearly anymore. And I'm certainly not going to play cards. I'm going to call the police. Whoever that is, tell them to go away.
Good evening, Mrs. Moss.
Mrs. Groom?
It's Mrs. Groom from upstairs.
Well, if she's got anything to say, she'd better say it quickly.
Good evening, Mr. Moss. We're always having parties upstairs, and we've never invited you. Will you come to our party?
The party's going well for the moment, but then the people from downstairs haven't arrived yet.
Are you enjoying yourself, Sally?
Yes, thank you, Mandy. I'm enjoying the party enormously. In fact, I was just telling Dick that you and Peter have never had such a good party. Isn't that right, darling?
Yes, going very well. Of course, it's the music that makes the difference.
We might have to play something a little less loud in a moment.
Oh, why?
Because I've invited the people from downstairs to join us.
Aren't they always complaining?
Yes. Once they even threatened to call the police when we were having a party. I suddenly decided it would be a good idea to invite them.
Mandy, sometimes you do the craziest things. They'll ruin the party.
Of course not. Anyway, it's too late to stop them coming. Hurry up, Freddie.
You usually dress slowly, I know. But surely you can get ready faster than this.
Sorry, dear. Some of my clothes don't fit properly anymore.
Do you want me to do anything for you?
Fasten my braces, dear, will you?
Right.
What was that?
It was something upstairs.
We'll just have to put on some of your records.
I'm afraid not, Dick. You've broken the record player as well.
Well, perhaps your friend from downstairs can help us. Mr. Moss might be an engineer of some sort.
I don't think so.
Do come in, Mrs. Moss, Mr. Moss. My husband. Sally, Dick, this is Mr. and Mrs. Moss. They're from downstairs. This is Mr. and Mrs. Staples. I don't think you know them.
No, we've never met before.
It's very quiet in here.
That won't be quiet for long.
That's the laugh I've frequently heard.
We've just come in for a little while.
Yes, we don't often go out nowadays. In fact, usually we're in bed about now.
I hope you haven't stopped the music just because we've arrived.
Oh, no. I'm afraid the cassette player has broken down, and the record player, too. So we may not be able to have any more music.
I think my husband can help you.
You mean he can mend the player?
No. Do you think you could give us a song, Freddie?
What, now?
Yes. We want you to sing for us. You can't have anything to eat until you've sung a song.
Oh, all right, if you insist.
Does your husband often sing songs at parties?
Well, he hardly ever goes to parties. But he was an entertainer once. He used to sing professionally.
Freddie Moss. You used to appear every week at the Grand Theatre. My father was always talking about you. Oh, come on, everyone. Make room for Freddie. Clear the floor, quickly. Oh, I can't wait for this.
It's just like the good old days.
Come on.
Not a mouthful to eat until you've sung for us.
Good, yeah.
Right. Are we ready then?
Yeah!
Here we go. She was a dear little dicky bird, tweet, tweet, tweet she went. Sweetly she sang to me till all my money was spent. Then she went off song. We parted on fighting terms. She was one of the early birds and I was one of the worms. All together now she was a dear little dicky bird. Sweet, tweet, tweet she went. Sweetly she sang to me till all my money was spent. Then she went off song. We parted on fighting terms. She was one of the early birds and I was one of the worms.
The town hall. What an essential part of the community. Full of people working on our behalf, a place where we can go at any time with our problems. The place to contact if we have to make an occasional complaint.
Town hall, can I help you?
I want to make a complaint.
Certainly, madam. What about?
I said that I wanted.
To make a complaint.
Yes, I realize that you want to make a complaint.
But I'd like to make sure that you're put in touch with the correct department.
I don't think you understand.
This is Mrs. Mary Higgins of 40 Park Road.
Oh, Mrs. Higgins. We haven't heard from you for a month. That is because I've been on holiday for a month. I think it's time that I paid a visit to the town hall.
So I'm calling to say that I'll arrive in 10 minutes' time. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Mrs. Higgins. Mrs. Higgins is back from her holiday.
And she wants to make a complaint, I suppose.
She'll be here in 10 minutes, I'm afraid. I'd better ring the housing department.
Thank you. Housing department. Can I help you?
Oh, hello. It's Jill in reception.
I've just had a call from Mrs. Higgins.
Mrs. Higgins? Oh, no. I'm sure that she wants another department.
Maybe. But you must admit that she always starts with your department.
I know she always starts with the housing department.
But whatever she's complaining about this time, it can't possibly concern us. It must be another department.
Well, I'm afraid that Mrs. Higgins is already on her way to the town hall.
Never mind. I'll get the planning department to deal with her.
Planning department, can I help you?
I hope you can. It's Mrs. Higgins.
Ah, Mrs. Higgins. I was just thinking that we hadn't heard from you for a long time.
This is not Mrs. Higgins. It's Linda in the housing department. And I'm just warning you that Mrs. Higgins will be here in a moment.
Then you'll be dealing with her, I imagine. She always starts with the housing department.
Not this time, I assure you. We've dealt with all her complaints to us.
That's funny. We've dealt with all her complaints to us, too, I'm absolutely certain. Perhaps we should try the other departments.
Perhaps we should try the town clerk.
If all the departments claim they have already dealt with Mrs. Higgins's complaints, then I shall see her. Fetch me the files on Mrs. Higgins. Come in.
I see that you're all working hard today.
How do you do, Mrs. Higgins? Yes. Do sit down.
Thank you.
I gather that you wish to make a complaint. I thought it would be a good idea if we went through your problems one by one, since you seem to have so many. I promise you they will be dealt with quickly and efficiently. Now, let's see. Where shall we begin? The housing department?
Yes, I usually begin with the housing department.
I think they're talking about the tree now.
I've no need to remind you that we had a lot of trouble with that tree.
Ah, yes. Yes, the tree. Yes, here we are. It was agreed that the tree should be removed. And here it is confirmed that it was removed on the 23rd of April.
You don't imagine that was the end of the matter, do you?
I confess I was hoping to go on to your next problem. There was only one tree to be removed, I believe.
Oh, yes. But when the tree was cut down, there was a hole in the pavement. It was a very big hole, I assure you.
I remember. There was some trouble about a hole in the pavement. And I hope you won't have any more cause to complain about noise from your neighbors.
I admit it's fairly quiet now they've moved out, but...
I expect you're going to remind me about the windows they broke before they left,
5 windows. There were 5 broken windows, remember?
That is the last of your little problems, I trust, Mrs. Higgins. You must admit that the council has done everything in its power to help you, and I can assure you that it will continue to do so. We want to keep you happy, you know.
But I came here to complain about the bus stop.
Oh, Mrs. Higgins, please, have you forgotten that we moved the bus stop away from your house because you complained about the noise?
No, I have not forgotten. But now I have to walk to catch the bus. And I wish to complain.
My staff will deal with that, madam. Excuse me.
Back to the town hall.
You don't look very happy this morning, Jill, I must say.
I didn't sleep last night, I'm afraid. It's the flat I live in. I can't bear it. Noisy neighbors, aeroplanes flying just above the roof. There's a road being built outside and a terrible smell from the factory next door. Our Mrs. Higgins would find enough to complain about for several years.
Careful. Mrs. Higgins is on her way here now.
Oh, no. She'll be coming to complain, I've no doubt.
Don't forget what the town clerk told us. We must all do what we can to help Mrs. Higgins.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning, Mrs. Higgins. I expect you've come to complain about...
Complain? I've no complaints. I've just come to make an application. I want to install something in my flat.
I'm sure you want the housing department, then.
I expect I do.
What is it you want to install in your flat, Mrs. Higgins?
Air conditioners. I want the air in my flat to be fresh. All the time. I don't suppose you'll allow me to put them in.
Oh, I don't think there will be any objection. Not from the housing department, at any rate. If you come with me, I'll just check. Now, let me see. Adding machines, aeroplanes, air. Here we are. I can assure you that the housing department does not object to air, conditioned or not.
You really mean there's no objection at all?
The regulations confirm that you can have any sort of air you like in your flat. But the equipment's a different matter. You may need planning permission, you know.
Mrs. Higgins?
I'm sure Mr. Bright of our planning department will help you.
I'd be delighted to help you, Mrs. Higgins. Come this way, please. Now, let me see. Planning permission.
Tell me, why do you need that enormous chart?
This chart is to make sure that we ask you the right questions and that you give us the right answers. Now, Mrs. Higgins, do you own the flat you live in, or does it belong to the council?
It belongs to the council. You know that. Why do you need to ask?
Well, you see, Mrs. Higgins, I can't ask any question until I have the answer to the one before.
How many questions are there?
Oh, hundreds, Mrs. Higgins, hundreds. And they all have to be answered, I'm afraid. But don't worry. I'll give you all the help I can. Really? Oh, good. Thank you. Goodbye. Right, Mrs. Higgins. We've now established that none of the other departments of the council object to your air conditioners. The next question is, does the planning department object?
And does it?
Of course not.
Oh. Hard at work, I see. Mrs. Higgins is with the planning department. She's been there for 2 hours. Mrs. Higgins, oh dear. Here she comes now. I hope my staff have been looking after you.
Yes. I must confess that they've done everything they can to help me.
You don't look very happy.
I never thought they'd allow me to install air conditioning in my flat. You don't think they could still find some objections, do you?
I doubt it.
Then I can't complain about their objections. And I like complaining. Now there's nothing to complain about. And my flat will be even better with the air conditioning.
Excuse me, madam. I've got a suggestion. Why don't you change flats with Miss Reed here? Her flat would give you plenty to complain about.
Yes, it's terrible. Right. Let's go and see the housing department immediately.